Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Insha'Allah, today you will have 100% grip on the topic of sampling for PPSC, FPSC and any other test with the help of today's lecture. Before starting today's lecture, I request everyone subscribe to my channel, like and share my channel and click the bell icon for notifications. Let's start. A part of the population which is selected with the belief that it represents the whole population is called a sample, and the process of drawing a sample is called sampling. What is a population? The totality of all the units of interest is called a population. And what is a population distribution? The distribution of a random variable is called population distribution. What is sample distribution? The distribution of observations included in the sample is called sample distribution. And don't be confused with sample distribution and sampling distribution. Sampling distribution is different from sample distribution. Sampling distribution is actually the distribution of the sample statistic. It is the probability distribution of the sample statistics. As we know, sample statistics is a random variable. For example, if we take the sample of 5 students and get their marks, for example, the average marks is 85 out of 100. Then we take another sample of 5 students and get their marks and the average is 90 marks. That vary. It means sample statistic is a random variable and its distribution is sampling distribution. And sampling distribution of mean is the probability distribution of the mean, of the sample mean. Then finite population. A population that consists of a limited number of observations is a finite population. For example, if we have height of the students of the Punjab University, that will be a finite population. Next one is infinite population. A population that consists of infinite number of observations. For example, if we have the heights between 2 and 3 meters, that will be the example of infinite population. Then the next one is sampling error. The error, it is the difference between the true population parameter and the sample statistic, and that can be reduced by increasing the sample size. The next one is non-sampling error. Non-sampling error is due to faulty interviewing. It is due to the mistakes in editing the data, in coding the data, in entering the data, and non-sampling error can be reduced if the volume of the processed data is small. The next one is bias. Bias is the difference between the population parameter and the mean of sample statistic for infinity of the samples. Then what is the difference between precision and accuracy? A very important topic. Accuracy refers to the size of deviations from the true population parameter, whereas precision refers to the size of deviation of the sample statistic of the overall mean obtained by the repeated application of sampling procedure. The next one is probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling. In probability sampling, every unit of the population has some non-zero non-probability of being selected in the sample. But in non-probability sampling, all the units in the population are selected by the choice of the sampler. That is his own choice, his experience. He considers all those units which are good for representative sample. Now we will start a very important topic. We will start multiple choice questions of it. Number one is sampling is used when, number one, complete enumeration is not possible. Yes, it is correct. Number two, population is infinite. It is also correct. Third one is results required in short time. It is also correct. D part is all of the above. Yes. Number 2, a subset of the population is known as a sample. Sample is the subset of the population. Number 3, which of the following sampling is the representative of the whole population? A very important one. Stratified sampling, no. Systematic, wrong. Number 3, simple random sampling. Number 4, census is not applicable when population is number 1, finite, wrong. Number 2, infinite. Number 3, homogeneous. Number 4, heterogeneous. The second one is correct, infinite. Census is not applicable when the population is infinite. Number 5, a survey is to be carried out in the central area of a town and the residential outskirts of it. The shopping habits and the expenditure of people living there are to be studied. The best sampling method would be stratified random sample of households. Number 6, in a village consisting of the population of 3,000 people, 60% are Muslims, 20% are Hindus, 10% are Sikh, and 10% are Christians. We want to take a sample of 10% of the population to study the eating habits of this population. The best method would be stratified random sampling. Next, when each member of a population has an equally likely chance of being selected, this is called number 1, a non-random sampling, no. Number 2, a quota sampling, wrong. Number 3, a snowball sampling, no. Number 4, an equal probability selection method, yes, that is correct. Number 8, a sample of size 40 is to be drawn from a large population. The sampling technique is such that every possible sample of size 40 that could be drawn from the population is equally likely. What name is given to the type of the sample? That will be simple random sampling. Equally likely actually. Number 9, which of the following would generally require the largest sample size? Number 1, simple random sampling, wrong. Number 2, systematic sampling, incorrect. Number 3, proportional stratified sampling, no. Number 4, cluster sampling, yes, this is the correct answer, number 4. Number 10, for a survey, a village is divided into 5 lanes. Each lane is sampled randomly. It is an example of cluster random sampling. Number 11, a professor choose a sample of 11 students from his mathematics class of 60 students by picking every student who was wearing blue shirt that day. What kind of sample is this? That is convenience sample, a very important one. Number 12, in which of the following non-random sampling techniques does the researcher ask the research participants to identify other potential research participants? Number 1, convenience, no. Number 2, purposive, no. Number 3, quota, no. Number 4, snowball sampling. It's a very important one. Number 13, which of the following is the most efficient random sampling technique? Number 1, simple random sampling, no. Number 2, cluster random sampling, no. Number 3, systematic sampling, no. Number 4, proportional stratified sampling, that is the correct one. Number 14, people who are available, volunteer or can be easily recruited are used in the sampling method called number 1, simple random sampling, no. Number 2, cluster sampling, no. Number 3, systematic sampling, no. Number 4, convenience sampling, that is the correct one. Number 15, which of the following types of sampling involves the researcher determining the appropriate sample sizes for the groups identified as important and then taking convenience samples from those groups. Number 1, proportional stratified sampling, no. Number 2, one stage cluster sampling, no. Number 3, two stage cluster sampling, incorrect. Fourth one is quota sampling, and that is the correct one. Number 16, which of the following would be usually require the smallest sample size because of its efficiency? Number 1, one stage cluster sampling, no. Number 2, two stage cluster sampling. Number 3, quota sampling. Number 4, simple random sampling. The fourth one is the correct one. Number 17, a technique used when selecting clusters of different sizes is called, number 1, cluster sampling, wrong. Number 2, one stage sampling, incorrect. Number 3, two stage sampling, incorrect. The D is PPS, probability proportional to size, and that is the correct one. 18th is very important. It is recommended to use the whole population rather than a sample when the population size is of what size? Number 1, 500 or less, no. B, 1000 or less, no. C is 100 or less, that is the correct one. Number 19, which of the following is not the example of a non-random sampling technique? Number 1, purposive. Number 2, quota. Number 3, convenience. Number 4, cluster sampling. That is the fourth one. Which is the example of random sampling? These are non-random: purposive, quota, and convenience. Number 20, determining the sample interval represented by k, randomly selecting a number between 1 and k and included each kth element in your sample are the steps for which form of sampling? A very important one, and that is not simple random sampling, stratified sampling, cluster. That is example of systematic sampling, in which every kth unit will be selected after the selection of first element. Number 21, if a study is carried out in a hospital ward and every 10th patient was included in the sample, which sampling procedure is this? And that is systematic sampling. Number 22, the non-random sampling type that involves selecting a convenience sample from a population with a specific set of characteristics for your research study is called convenience sampling, no. Quota sampling, no. Snowball sampling, no. Number 4 is the correct one, and that is purposive sampling. Now the next one is very important. Which of the following sampling methods is the best way to select a group of people for a study if you are interested in making statements about the larger population? Number 1 is convenience sampling, no. Number 2 is quota sampling, no. 3 is purposive sampling, no. The fourth one is random sampling, and that is the correct one. Assalamu alaikum.